The Galactic Council chamber floated above the capital world like a crown of silver glass. Inside, hundreds of representatives sat in calm silence. This council ruled most of the known galaxy. For centuries, no force had challenged its power. At the center of the chamber, High Speaker Varroan tapped the floor with his staff. The meeting was routine. Trade routes, border patrols, minor rebellions that barely mattered. Nothing caused concern. Then a low tone echoed through the hall. A sensor officer stepped forward, his scales paling. High Speaker, long-range scanners have detected an object entering the outer rim of Imperial space. Varroan sighed. Another pirate vessel? No, the officer said carefully. It came from beyond mapped lanes. From a yellow star system marked as low priority. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Which system? A counselor asked. The officer hesitated. The third planet of that star. The records list it as Earth. Several counselors laughed. One of them waved a claw dismissively. Humans. They are divided, primitive, and noisy. They fight among themselves. They are no threat. Varroan nodded. Send a warning beacon. They will turn back. But the officer did not move. High Speaker, he said, voice shaking, the object did not slow, and our scanners cannot read its power output. That silenced the room. Unknown power readings were rare. Unknown readings from a human world were unheard of. Put the object on display, Varroan ordered. Space unfolded above the council floor. A massive image formed. The object drifted calmly through the darkness. It was a ship. Long and dark, shaped like a spear carved from shadow. Its hull was smooth, without bright markings or glowing engines. Faint blue lines ran across its surface like veins under skin. It moved without visible thrust, steady and controlled. One counselor leaned forward. That is not possible. Humans cannot build vessels of that scale. Measure its size, Varroan said. Over 4 kilometers long, the officer replied. The laughter did not return. Far away, inside the ship, the bridge lights glowed soft white. Captain Nathan Cole stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the stars. He was calm, but his jaw was tight. Status, he said. Alien sensor locks confirmed. Lieutenant Emma Wright replied from her station. They are watching us closely. No weapons charge? Cole asked. None yet. They seem confused. Cole allowed himself a small breath. Good. That means the plan is still working. The ship was the first of its kind to leave Earth openly. For decades, humanity had hidden. Not out of fear, but patience. They watched alien wars tear systems apart. They learned. Now, the time for silence was over. Back in the council chamber, panic crept in like a cold mist. Hail them, Varroan ordered. Force them to identify. A transmission beam shot toward the human ship. On the bridge, Emma looked up. Incoming message. Translation systems adapting. Cole nodded. Open channel. Audio only. A harsh, layered voice filled the bridge. Unknown vessel. You have entered Imperial territory. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Cole stepped forward. This is Captain Nathan Cole of the United Earth Warship Horizon. We are on a peaceful course. We request recognition and open communication. There was silence. Then, laughter burst across the council floor. United Earth. One counselor scoffed. They claim unity now? Varroan raised a hand for silence. Earth Warship, he repeated slowly. How many vessels accompany you? Cole's reply was calm. None. More laughter. Then you are foolish, Varroan said. Turn back. The Empire does not negotiate with weak worlds. Cole's eyes hardened, but his voice did not change. With respect, High Speaker, Earth is no longer weak. Varroan leaned forward. Prove it. On the bridge, Emma looked at Cole. He nodded once. Begin demonstration, Cole said. The human ship did not fire. Instead, space around it shifted. Imperial sensors flickered, then went dark for a heartbeat. Data streams froze, then returned. In that single moment, every system watching the ship realized the truth. The human warship had reached into the Empire's network without permission. Alarms screamed across the council chamber. "Systems compromised," an officer shouted. "They bypassed our shields without touching them." Fear rippled through the chamber. Varroan's grip tightened on his staff. "What have you done, human?" Cole answered softly. "We turned off nothing. We only showed you that we can." Silence followed. Then the human ship sent a final transmission. "Not long. Not loud. This is a human warship from Earth. We did not come to attack. But we will not be ignored." The channel closed. On the council floor, no one spoke. The Galactic Empire, for the first time in centuries, felt something new. Fear. And far beyond the chamber, the human warship horizon continued forward, steady and patient, carrying the weight of Earth's long memory into the heart of the galaxy. The council chamber remained silent long after the human signal ended. No one laughed now. No one spoke. The image of the dark human warship still hovered above the floor, unmoving, patient. High Speaker Varroan finally broke the silence. "Increase sensor focus. I want every scan we have on that vessel." Officers rushed to obey. Data poured across their screens, then stalled. "High Speaker," one officer said, fear clear in his voice, "the readings still do not make sense. Their energy output is controlled, but massive. Their systems are layered in ways we have never seen." Varroan's eyes narrowed. Humans were never supposed to reach this level. "Perhaps they were underestimated," another counselor said quietly. That thought spread like a sickness. Far away, aboard the human warship, the bridge stayed calm. Captain Nathan Cole watched the stars drift past. He knew the silence meant the message had landed. "Status update," he said. Lieutenant Emma Wright glanced at her display. "Imperial networks are stabilizing. They are pulling back probes but keeping us locked." "No hostile actions?" "Not yet." Cole nodded. "They are deciding whether to fear us or test us." Below the bridge, deep inside the ship, Admiral Lucas Grant stood in a quiet observation room. Screens showed the council chamber, slowed and filtered. He folded his hands behind his back. "They are panicking," he said to no one in particular. This ship was not just a warship. It was a message built from steel and patience. Humanity's answer to centuries of silence. Granted clearance, the ship's memory systems opened. Records long hidden from the galaxy came alive. On Earth, decades earlier, humanity had discovered alien signals. Not friendly ones. They spoke of conquest, hierarchy, and control. Earth listened. Earth learned. Instead of shouting into space, humans turned inward. They unified quietly. Borders softened. Resources shifted. War did not vanish, but it changed. They prepared. Back on the council floor, Varroan turned to the military delegates. "Send a scout formation. Lightly armed. If this is a bluff, we expose it." A general nodded. "It will be done." Small Imperial ships detached from a nearby fleet and moved toward the human vessel. On the human bridge, warning tones chimed. "Multiple ships approaching," Emma reported. "Weapons active, but low yield." Cole remained still. "Do not target them. Adjust shields to passive mode." "Passive?" Emma asked. "Let them see restraint." The Imperial scouts formed a wide circle around the human warship. Their weapons charged, glowing with energy. "They expect us to panic," Emma said. Cole shook his head. "They expect us to react like everyone else." The first shot fired. The blast struck the human ship's shields and vanished without a ripple. No explosion. No flash. Just silence. On the council floor, gasps filled the chamber. "Direct hit," an officer shouted. "No damage." "Increase firepower," the general ordered. 3 more shots followed. Same result. Inside the human ship, systems barely registered the impacts. "Still holding," Emma said. Cole nodded. "Begin Phase 1. The human warship shifted slightly. Not away. Closer. Space bent as the ship moved through the scout formation without touching them. Imperial ships spun wildly as their control systems failed for seconds at a time. "They are inside our formation," an officer cried. "How did they move like that?" Cole's voice carried through a new open channel. "Cease fire. We will not return it." Varroan stood from his seat. "You invade our space and demand peace?" Cole replied calmly. "We entered your space because you entered ours first. Centuries ago, Earth chose silence. Today, we choose presence." That word echoed through the chamber. Presence. Admiral Grant watched the exchange closely. "They still see this as a challenge," he said. On Earth, hidden beneath oceans and ice, more ships waited. Fleets that never flew banners. Crews that trained without applause. Humans who learned that survival did not always require noise. Back in space, the scout ships pulled away, damaged but alive. "They did not destroy us," a counselor whispered. "They could have." Varroan felt a chill. Mercy from a warship was more frightening than aggression. "What do you want?" he asked. Cole answered without hesitation. "Recognition, dialogue, and a warning." "A warning?" Cole's eyes hardened. "The galaxy is not as stable as you believe. Forces are moving. Ancient ones. Earth has seen the signs." Silence fell again. Varroan slowly sat back down. "You expect us to trust humans?" "No," Cole said. "We expect you to listen." Before the channel closed, a final data package transferred to the Council. Star maps. Battle records. Warnings of unknown fleets beyond the rim. The Council stared at the information in disbelief. Far beyond their borders, something old was waking. And Earth had not come to beg. The human warship remained where it was, steady and calm, like a sentinel. For the first time, the Galactic Empire understood a new truth. Humans were not newcomers to war. They were its survivors. The Galactic Council could no longer pretend this was a simple meeting. Fear moved openly now. The human warship still waited in Imperial space, calm and unmoving, as if time itself obeyed it. High Speaker Varroan stood again. "This cannot continue. Summon the border fleets." Military officers exchanged looks. This was no longer a test. It was a decision. "If humans are allowed to stand unchallenged," one general said, "the Empire will look weak." Varroan nodded slowly. "Then strength must be shown." Far away, heavy Imperial warships began to move. Dozens of them. They formed long lines of steel and fire, their weapons glowing brighter than the stars around them. On the human bridge, the change was clear. "Large fleet mobilizing," Lieutenant Emma Wright said quietly. "This is not another probe." Captain Nathan Cole studied the display. The numbers did not worry him, but the intent did. "Inform Admiral Grant," he said. Message sent. Inside the observation room, Admiral Lucas Grant watched the Imperial fleet approach. His expression remained steady, but his eyes hardened. "They have chosen fear," he said. "Prepare Phase 2. Back on the bridge, Cole felt the ship respond, systems waking that had never been used in open space. "All stations," he said calmly, "remain defensive. No lethal fire unless ordered." "Understood," Emma replied. Space filled with movement as the Imperial fleet closed in. Their formation was perfect, aggressive, meant to intimidate. On the council floor, the fleet commander's voice echoed. "Human vessel, you are surrounded. Power down and submit to inspection." Cole opened the channel. "We will not submit. But we will not strike first." "You mistake mercy for weakness," the commander replied. "Humans learned long ago," Cole said, "that survival requires control." The first heavy shot fired. It was nothing like the scout attack. This blast shook space itself. Energy slammed into the human shields. On the bridge, alarms chirped softly. "Shield integrity at 98%, Emma reported. Cole did not move. Another blast followed. Then another. On the council floor, officers watched in disbelief as the human warship endured. "How is it still standing?" someone whispered. Inside the human ship, systems adjusted quietly, absorbing force and redirecting energy. "They are escalating," Emma said. Cole nodded. Then it is time they learned restraint has limits. Phase 2, he ordered. The human warship moved. Not forward. Not backward. It vanished. For a single breath, the space it occupied was empty. Then it reappeared inside the Imperial formation. Panic exploded across the fleet. They jumped through our lines. No jump signature detected. Imperial ship spun, colliding as their sensors failed. On the bridge, Emma gripped her console. Local space distortion complete. Cole watched calmly. Disable, do not destroy. Human systems reached out like invisible hands. Imperial weapons shut down. Engines stalled. Shields collapsed without explosion. Ship after ship went dark, drifting helplessly. On the council floor, silence turned to horror. They are dismantling us, Varrowan said softly. Without killing us, another counselor whispered. That was worse. Cole opened the channel again. This ends now. Recall your fleet. Varrowan hesitated, pride warring with survival. Admiral Grant stepped into the channel. His image appeared, calm but heavy with authority. This is Admiral Lucas Grant of United Earth, he said. We came alone so you would listen. We can leave. Or we can stay. The choice is yours. Varrowan felt the weight of that choice. If you are so powerful, he asked, why hide for so long? Grant answered simply. Because power invites fear. And fear invites war. Around them, Imperial ships floated powerless, alive but humbled. Finally, Varrowan raised his staff. Recall the fleet. One by one, surviving Imperial vessels pulled back. On the bridge, Emma exhaled slowly. They are retreating. Cole nodded, though tension still lingered. This is not over. Granted clearance, the human ship returned to its original position, engines quiet. Across the galaxy, sensors recorded the event. The Empire had met a warship that did not retreat. And worse, it did not need to chase victory. For the first time, the Galactic Empire understood that humanity did not fight to conquer. They fought to end fights. And the galaxy had just taken its first step into a very different future. The council chamber felt smaller than before. The seats were the same. The walls still shone with polished metal. Yet every member felt the weight pressing down on them. The human warship still waited outside Imperial space, silent and patient. High Speaker Varrowan stared at the projection of the ship. They could have destroyed half our fleet, he said. They chose not to. No one argued. That makes them more dangerous, a counselor replied. Before Varrowan could respond, a new alert sounded. High Speaker, an officer said, panic clear in his voice, multiple spatial distortions detected. Varrowan's eyes widened. From where? Every direction. Space around the capital system began to bend. Not violently, but smoothly, like water moving around stone. One distortion became 10. 10 became dozens. Ships appeared. Human ships. They were different from the first warship. Some were massive carriers. Others were sharp and compact. All of them moved with quiet control. No bright weapons. No aggressive formations. On the council floor, fear turned into disbelief. A fleet, someone whispered. They hid a fleet. Far inside the lead human carrier, Commander Olivia Ross stood on a wide bridge. Her posture was relaxed, but her eyes were focused. All units hold position, she said. No weapons targeting. Acknowledgements flowed back. On the first warship, Captain Nathan Cole watched the arrivals without surprise. Right on time, he said softly. Lieutenant Emma Wright smiled faintly. The galaxy is about to learn how quiet humans can be. Admiral Lucas Grant opened a secure channel. His image appeared before the council once more, joined now by Olivia Ross. This is a show of force, Varrowan said. You said you came alone. Grant nodded. We did. To speak. They came to listen. Ross stepped forward. Earth does not seek conquest. But we will not allow preemptive war against our world. Varrowan's voice tightened. You surround us. We are positioned defensively, Ross replied. Notice we block nothing. We threaten nothing. That was true. Trade lanes remained open. Planetary orbits untouched. Varroan swallowed. "Why now?" Grant answered. "Because your fleets began to move toward Earth." Murmurs spread across the chamber. "That was contingency planning," a counselor protested. Ross's eyes hardened. "Earth has survived many contingencies." At her signal, data flooded the council systems. Images of human history appeared. Wars, rebuilds, disasters. Unity formed through loss. "We learned restraint through pain," Ross said, "and strength through patience." Varroan watched cities rise and fall on the screens. Humans fighting each other, then standing together. "You hid," he said quietly. "We watched," Grant replied. Outside, the human fleet held position. No movement. No threat. Inside the chamber, something shifted. Fear slowly gave way to understanding. "What do you want?" Varroan asked again. Grant answered without pause. "Recognition as equals. Shared intelligence. And an end to expansion toward Earth." Silence followed. Then another alert. "Unknown signal detected," an officer said. "Far beyond Imperial borders." Ross stiffened. "Show it." The projection shifted. Dark shapes moved at the edge of known space. Massive. Slow. "We are not the only ones who waited," Ross said. "And they will not be merciful." Varroan felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "You are asking us to trust humans," he said. Grant shook his head. "We are asking you to survive." Outside the chamber, the human fleet remained steady. Not an invasion force, but a shield. And for the first time, the Galactic Empire began to understand why the humans had waited so long to speak. The council chamber was quiet in a way it had never been before. Fear was still present, but it was no longer wild. It had become focused. Outside, the human fleet held its position like a wall made of patience. High Speaker Varroan looked at the dark shapes on the projection. The unknown forces beyond the rim moved slowly, yet their size alone spoke of destruction. "You say these fleets are coming," Varroan said. "How long do we have?" Admiral Lucas, Grant answered calmly. "Months, maybe less. They erase worlds before anyone can negotiate." Silence followed. Commander Olivia Ross stepped forward. "Earth detected them early because we watched the dark spaces. We do not assume safety." Varroan lowered himself into his seat. For the first time, the Empire felt small. "If we accept your offer," he said, "what becomes of the Empire?" Grant met his gaze. "You adapt, or you fall alone." Murmurs filled the chamber. Pride clashed with reason. Tradition with survival. One counselor stood. "The Empire has ruled through strength for centuries." Ross nodded. "So has Earth. Strength does not vanish when shared." Varroan raised his staff. The room fell silent. "The Galactic Empire will recognize Earth as an equal power," he said slowly. "We will open full diplomatic channels and suspend expansion toward human space." Relief spread through the chamber. Outside, nothing changed. The human fleet did not move. There was no celebration. On the human warship, Captain Nathan Cole listened to the transmission. He closed his eyes briefly. "Message received," he said. "Stand down from alert." Lieutenant Emma Wright smiled. "We did it." Cole shook his head. "This was never about winning." Back on the council floor, Grant continued. "This treaty is only the beginning. The threat coming will test us all." Varroan nodded. "Then we will prepare together." Weeks passed. Human advisors walked the council halls. Imperial officers studied human systems. Mistrust remained, but it no longer ruled every thought. Fleets trained side by side. At the edge of the galaxy, the dark shapes grew closer. When the first battle came, it was brutal. Imperial ships fought hard, but their old tactics failed. Human fleets moved differently. They protected allies. They adapted mid-battle. They sacrificed position to save lives. Commander Ross led from the front, calm even as space burned. "Hold the line," she said. "We move together." Humans and Imperials fought side by side. Losses were heavy, but the enemy was pushed back. For the first time, the Empire saw war not as dominance, but defense. When the battle ended, silence returned. Wreckage drifted through space. Survivors were pulled from broken ships, regardless of species. Varroan watched from a command vessel. "You could have let us fall," he said to Grant. Grant replied softly, "Earth does not abandon allies." In the months that followed, the galaxy changed. Worlds once ruled by fear saw cooperation instead. Councils spoke instead of threatening. Fleets patrolled together. Stories spread, not of humans as conquerors, but of humans who waited, who endured, who learned. On Earth, the human fleet returned quietly. No parades, no songs. Captain Cole stood once more on the bridge, watching the blue planet grow larger. "Do you think the galaxy will remember this?" Emma asked. Cole nodded. "They will remember when fear did not win." Far beyond, stars continued to burn. The Galactic Empire no longer panicked at the sight of a human warship. It welcomed it, because humanity did not rise to rule the galaxy. They rose to make sure it survived.